All right, so I just watched the Chiefs beat the Giants at MetLife Stadium, and two things that I took away from that game. One, the Giants, Russell Wilson's awful. So bad. Thank God the Chiefs played them this week because I'm not sure they could have beat anybody else in that first half the way that they played. Oh my gosh, I have not seen a worse half of football played by two teams in the NFL in at least 10 years. That took years off my life watching that game, and I think it took years off my life. I think it took years off of Travis Kelce's life experiencing that because him and Andy Reid blew up again at the end of the first half, and I couldn't help. I thought it was because I don't know if Andy called this play, but Andy called for like a screen, a tight end screen to a 36-year-old tight end. Of course, it's going to lose 2 yards. That was one of the worst play calls of the game. The Chiefs couldn't do anything offensively with any kind of structure. It was so bad. Mahomes, the best play Mahomes made was throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage and then getting his own fumble, stealing his own fumble back from one of the Giants players. It was such a comedy of errors trying to watch that team get anything going offensively. It was so bad. They can't run the ball. And whatever they were trying to do within the structure was awful. And again, their game plan was terrible. Their scheme was terrible. And I think that's what Travis was mad about. I'm on Team Travis for him blowing up at Andy. Andy, get it together and hold people accountable. I don't need to see Jawan Taylor in the game anymore. He wasn't good pass blocking, run blocking, and he's a penalty machine. Get him off. Hold people accountable. What are we doing? So I understand Travis's frustration. I know a lot of people don't like him because they're jealous because he's Taylor's fiance, but he was mad at another Taylor this game. The team that first half that took years off my life, and when I say that I needed that first off, they should have been losing at the half. There's so much to unpack with this game, and I'm so glad that they won. They won by they scored 22-9, and they you would think the way that I'm talking about it now, they lost by double digits, but they ended up winning by double digits because Russell Wilson sucks, and he was just throwing the ball up for grabs there a couple times, and the Chiefs got him. But there are a few things that I took away from that first half. It was just such a lack of creativity offensively. And I think that's why Travis was upset. I don't blame him. I was upset too. I was yelling at Andy, why are we calling QB screens? Tight end screens. Huh? Why are we calling that? He's 36 years old. And two, get any kind of running game going. The running backs have no burst. Now, they did a little bit better, I think. But it's still, when you need them, they're no good. It's hard to get a yard. And that's that's why it's so weird watching this offense. Listen, that first half, that was just a mess offensively. Mahomes throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage several times. Pacheco, there was one play where I think Pacheco caught the ball, or no, he caught the ball off a bounce, and then threw it. So I'm not sure what was the. Eventually, what did they penalize him for a forward pass? I think it was just they got Pacheco. I don't know what they didn't. They didn't penalize him for the forward pass. What they did was they just said it was a loss of like 3 yards. But like Pacheco should have ran it and picked up and tried to do something with it. It was a weird play by Mahomes, anyways, who had a couple of weird plays, but overall he was still amazing. And the biggest play of the game It was, man, I needed it in my life. They were down, or it was 6-6 with like 20 seconds left to go in the half, the first half. And Mahomes scrambles, and he's looking for something because they can't do anything offensively. And so he's looking for something, and he finally just chucks it 70 yards in the air and gets a penalty. And it was one of the it was one of the best plays that a Chiefs player has made all weekend because it totally changed the tide of that game, and I think hopefully of the season, because if that play doesn't happen, it's 6-6.5, and who knows who Travis is going to kill at halftime. I mean, Travis was out for blood. He didn't. I mean, I don't blame him. Again, don't blame Travis for that. But because they ended up getting the pass interference penalty on the Hail Mary play at the end of the half, because Mahomes did such a good job of scrambling and breaking tackles. Because of that, they ended up going in the half with the lead, knowing they were going to get the ball, and then that drive, at the beginning of the second half, that drive, that was an Andy Reid art. That was Andy Pat just doing what they do, misdirection, being creative. That was missing for the first 2.5 games of the season. Where was that, and why haven't they been doing that? I don't know. But it was a great job. And then listen, shout out to Mr. Tyquan Thornton, man. He stepped up. Buddy. Way to step up in the absence of receivers, man. They needed you, buddy. They need you, and you stepped up, man. So, stars to you in that game, Tyquan Thornton. And the defense stepped up, but I don't know how much of that was because Russell's an idiot with the football. So, who knows? That team's such a disaster offensively. And they can't continue to play Russ, can they? Is it just because Dable doesn't want to lose his job? Collinsworth was talking about it on the game. I'm not sure, but they got to put in Jackson Dart. You can't win a football game with Russell Wilson as quarterback. Not in 2025. After all that mess in the first half that they did, the Chiefs, and because they didn't turn the ball over, and Russell Wilson did twice, because he's throwing up all these moon balls, and the idiot pass that he made at the end of the first half was just stupid. So because the Chiefs ended up not turning the ball over, although they tried to a couple times, they were able to not completely. They were able to actually go in with the lead, and then kind of run away with it in the second half by playing a more balanced offense with more motion and misdirection. And Andy, that's not that hard, is it? I mean, you're a genius. Does Matt Nagy do anything? He looked like he didn't do anything. He was just like I think in a hoodie during the game. He didn't. I don't know. He looked like he was just the equivalent of Belichick's girlfriend is. Well, maybe she does a little more responsibility in North Carolina, but I'm not sure. So, a win is a win. It was a good win. They won by double digits. So that's good, man. They need a new running back. A faster running back that can get the ball out of the backfield and catch the ball out of the backfield and break a tackle. I don't... maybe Brashard Smith? Can we give him a try? Is that going to hurt? I don't know. Listen, you guys see him every day in practice, Chiefs. Like I'm talking to them like they're actually going to watch this. But the Chiefs see him in practice. So, but what scares me is that we need to hold some people accountable, though. Juwan Taylor needs to be held accountable. Let's just sit him. He can't be. I mean, you paid another guy for this same issue, And I thought the offensive line really kind of all around the. It seemed like Pat was getting pressured all the time in the first half, and then he got they were, I guess, blitzing him in the second half, but he was just always getting hit every time he went back to pass, and that's a little concerning. But I think they did a little bit better job in the second half. So I was pleasantly surprised that Pat had a lot more time to throw. And because of that, he was able to take some deep shots to Thornton. That third down play, Pat stood in the pocket and delivered it to Thornton in that fourth quarter. And then, it actually cost me a touchdown on my fantasy team, but you don't care about that. And then not Bashard, but Thornton actually missing the touchdown pass. he should have had it. He should have had that ball. He missed the easy touchdown play. And then makes a much harder catch to get the ball at the 1 yard line in the fourth quarter to eventually seal the game. And then Kareem Hunt bulldozes a guy into the end zone and then did he do the throat slash? I don't know. But it was a fun second half to watch. I knew once that the Chiefs went up double digits that the Giants weren't going to win. Russell wasn't going to let the Giants win. They're the worst team in the league, and so the Chiefs beat them by double digits. I'm just hoping that the Chiefs clean up their mess from the first half of this game. It was a good win by the Chiefs. I'm happy with that second half effort because I wanted to kick my TV after that first half. And even though the Chiefs were up 9-6, I hated everything about that. And if it was any other team in the league, they would have not. They would have been down at least double digits. But you play who you play, and the Chiefs won. They're 1-2. Let's just survive in advance, baby. Survive in advance.